Stop. If you're trying to be more seductive right now, you're probably doing it wrong. Here's the brutal truth most women won't hear. Your confidence is being mistaken for arrogance. Your mystery feels like manipulation. And the harder you try to be magnetic, the more people pull away. I'm about to expose 5 psychological mistakes that kill your natural feminine magnetism and reveal what actually works instead. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes. You'll learn the psychology behind authentic magnetism that no one else is teaching. Have you ever felt like you had to hide parts of yourself just to seem more interesting? This is where most women lose their authentic, dark, feminine power. They think mystery means playing games, but true mystery comes from psychological depth and authentic complexity. Authentic mystery. The shadow integration approach. You have layers worth discovering because you've done the inner work. Your weekends include both meditation and motorcycle rides. You read Jung and watch reality TV without shame. You're comfortable with contradictions because you've integrated your shadow. Know you're the complex, multifaceted woman you really are, not the one-dimensional version society expects. Picture your best friend at a dinner party. She mentions she spent Saturday learning about tarot symbolism and ancient mythology. When someone asks why, she shares how studying archetypal symbols helps her process the stress from her demanding corporate job. She's not performing mystique, she's revealing authentic depth. That natural complexity is magnetic because it's real. Now picture your sister in the same situation. When asked about her weekend, she smiles secretively and says something interesting, then changes the subject. She thinks she's being mysterious, but she's creating artificial scarcity. It feels manipulative because it is. She's withholding information to seem more intriguing rather than actually being intriguing. Jung wrote about the anima, the unconscious feminine archetype, that contains our deepest mysteries and wisdom. When you perform mystery, you're disconnected from your anima. When you embody mystery, you're expressing authentic feminine depth that comes from real inner work and self-knowledge. But here's what most dark feminine content gets completely wrong. They tell you to be mysterious by withholding information or playing hard to get. Real mystery isn't about what you don't say. It's about having a rich inner world naturally intrigues people. You're not hiding depths. You're so deep that people keep discovering new layers the more they get to know you. The difference in practice, instead of playing hard to get through calculated unavailability, you're naturally selective because you value your energy and have a full life. Instead of creating fake intrigue through games, you share selectively because you have genuine complexity worth protecting and revealing slowly. Which brings us to the confidence trap that destroys feminine magnetism before it even begins. Why does your confidence sometimes push people away instead of drawing them in? This is the dark feminine trap that destroys more relationships than any other. You've been told to know your worth and don't settle, but somewhere along the way, healthy standards became emotional walls and self-respect became superiority complex. Confident independence, the integrated woman approach. You have your own goals, opinions, and life direction. You're complete without anyone else, but you're genuinely curious about authentic connection. You can stand alone and choose to stand together. This is Jung's individuated woman, whole within herself, not closed off to meaningful relationships. Think about your most magnetic friend. She has strong opinions but listens actively when others speak. She talks about her achievements without name-dropping or making others feel small. She's interested in your perspectives even when they differ from hers. Her independence feels inviting, not intimidating, because it comes from security rather than defense. Now think about someone you know who confuses confidence with dismissal. She interrupts conversations to talk about herself. She treats any disagreement as disrespect. She uses her high standards to judge and dismiss everyone around her. Her energy feels cold, superior, untouchable, not because she's confident, but because she's defended. Here's what's happening psychologically. True confidence comes from integration. You've accepted both your light and shadow aspects, your strengths and vulnerabilities. False confidence comes from what Jung called inflation. Your ego has over-identified with positive traits while rejecting anything that feels weak or vulnerable. But here's the shadow work most women completely skip. Real dark feminine power isn't about being untouchable. It's about being so secure in yourself that you can be touched emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, without losing yourself. You maintain boundaries not from fear of being hurt, but from self-love and discernment. The difference in practice: instead of proving your worth through superiority, you demonstrate value through genuine interest in others and quality connections. Instead of emotional unavailability disguised as high standards, you're selectively available because you choose quality over quantity from a place of abundance, not scarcity. Which leads us to the most dangerous confusion of all, one that can destroy relationships before they even begin. When does reading people become using people? This is where the dark feminine path becomes truly dangerous. When emotional intelligence transforms into emotional manipulation, the difference between these two approaches will determine whether you build authentic connections or destroy them. Emotional intelligence, the authentic connection approach. You understand emotions, yours and others, to create harmony and deeper connection. You use emotional awareness to communicate more effectively, build trust, and navigate relationships with wisdom. Your emotional skills serve connection and mutual benefit. Here's how this plays out with your best friend. She notices when you seem stressed and offers genuine support without expecting anything in return. She reads the room at social gatherings to help conversations flow naturally. She uses her emotional awareness to make others feel comfortable and understood. Her emotional intelligence creates deeper bonds. Now picture someone who uses emotional manipulation. She notices the same stress in you, but uses it to position herself as indispensable or to extract favors. She reads people's insecurities and exploits them for personal gain. She creates emotional dependency, guilt, or insecurity to maintain power in relationships. The key psychological difference is motive and outcome. Emotional intelligence serves connection. You understand emotions to build bridges. Emotional manipulation serves control. You understand emotions to build leverage. One creates trust and intimacy. The other creates dependency and dysfunction. But here's what makes this particularly dangerous for women. Society has taught women that their emotional intelligence is their superpower, which it can be. But when combined with unhealed wounds or unconscious shadow material, that same emotional intelligence becomes a weapon that ultimately destroys the very connections they're trying to create. The difference in practice: instead of using someone's vulnerability against them, you hold space for their authentic expression. Instead of creating emotional dependency, you encourage their growth and independence. Instead of exploiting insecurities, you help people feel more secure in themselves. This pattern becomes especially dangerous when it comes to intimate relationships and sexuality. Why does owning your sexuality sometimes feel like losing yourself? This is where the dark feminine conversation becomes most complex. You've been told to embrace your sexual power, but somewhere between empowerment and performance, many women lose connection to their authentic sexual selves. Sexual confidence, the embodied authenticity approach. You're genuinely comfortable with your own sexuality, expressed through authentic desire and clear boundaries. You know what you want and communicate it honestly. Your sexuality comes from internal connection to your body and desires, not external validation or control. Think about a woman who embodies sexual confidence. She dresses in ways that make her feel attractive and powerful, regardless of others' reactions. She communicates her desires clearly and respects others' boundaries equally. She's comfortable with her sexuality without needing to prove it or use it as her primary source of power. Now consider someone who objectifies herself sexually. She performs sexuality for validation or control rather than expressing it authentically. She uses sexual appeal as her main source of power or self-worth. She feels empty when those reactions don't come because her sense of value depends on external sexual validation. Jung wrote about the anima and animus, the unconscious feminine and masculine aspects within everyone. When you perform sexuality rather than embody it, you're disconnected from your own anima, your authentic feminine essence. You're expressing what you think sexuality should look like rather than what it actually feels like to you. But here's the shadow work that changes everything. True sexual confidence comes from integration. You've accepted both your sexual power and your vulnerability, your desires and your boundaries. You're not trying to be sexually powerful. You're expressing the sexual power that already exists within you. The difference in practice, your sexuality serves your authentic expression, not your ego or control needs. You're turned on by genuine connection and mutual desire, not by the power dynamics or validation. You can be sexually confident without needing to prove it to anyone else. The final principle might be the most surprising of all. When does being smart become being intimidating? Intellectual engagement, the curious explorer approach. You have genuine curiosity and love of learning that you share with others. You use your intelligence to explore ideas together and create stimulating conversations. You're interested in what others think, not just in proving what you know. Intellectual superiority uses knowledge as a weapon to establish dominance. You show off intelligence to make others feel inadequate or to avoid emotional vulnerability. You lecture instead of conversing, correct instead of exploring, exclude instead of including. This connects to Jung's concept of the shadow. Often, intellectual superiority masks fear of being seen as unintelligent or unworthy. True intellectual confidence doesn't need to diminish others to feel powerful. So, how do you build authentic magnetism instead of these shadow patterns? The difference between manipulation and magnetism comes down to one question. Are you trying to get something from people, or are you trying to create something with people? Here's your three-step integration process. First, shadow recognition. Notice where you're performing instead of being authentic. Catch yourself using these tactics and pause. Second, conscious choice. In every interaction, choose connection over control. Ask yourself, am I building a bridge or building leverage? Third, authentic expression. Let your complexity show without apology. Your contradictions, your depth, your real thoughts and feelings. Authentic dark feminine magnetism isn't about tactics or games. It's about integrating your shadow and letting your genuine self be seen. When you stop trying to be magnetic and start being authentic, something remarkable happens. You naturally attract people who resonate with your genuine essence. The right connections find you because you're no longer hiding behind a performance. Which seduction mistake resonated most with you? Drop a comment. Your story could help another woman avoid these same patterns. Subscribe for more psychology insights that reveal what actually makes women irresistible.